3 months after marrying Leo, she slit her wrists and ended her life. As her soul hovered above the scene, she imagined he would fall apart sobbing uncontrollably, searching for her like a madman, unable to accept her death. At the very least, she expected him to cradle her lifeless body, collapse at her grave, tormented with regret, crying day and night. Like those dramatic novels where the powerful CEO realizes too late how much he loved her, loses everything, goes insane, turns gray overnight, and eventually dies of heartbreak. But none of that happened. Leo looked at her corpse and said just one thing. What bad luck. No regret. No sorrow. No desperate attempt to bring her back. Instead, her death made way for poor little orphan Selena to walk right in and take her place as Leo's new wife. Nicole looked down at the blade in her hand. Time had rewound to the day she died. Why did she have to be the one who paid the price? It was always the wrong people who suffered. She threw the blade away and walked out of the room. Before Leo could even bring Selena into their marital home, she had already signed the divorce papers. The moment the pain surged through her body, she realized she had been reborn. The memories of her death replayed like a broken film reel, over and over again. She had taken her own life because of one message. Just one. It came from Selena, 30 minutes before. A photo. Selena on top. Leo beneath her. Their pose intimate, unmistakable. And the location a cramped, closed space. Inside a car. Rage consumed her. She called Leo over and over, frantic, shaking, breathless. No answer. Then he hung up. The whole city knew how obsessed she was with Leo. So obsessed they gave her a nickname, Nicole, the unhinged beauty. She'd loved him with all her being. Couldn't live without him. And the thought of him with another woman drove her insane. She panicked. Opened WeChat. Made a group chat with all their mutual friends. And she announced she was going to kill herself. Messages came pouring in. Everyone begged her to stop. Everyone but Leo. He replied with just 2 words. Do it. Those words destroyed her. She had begged for Leo's love for so long, reduced herself to nothing. If she couldn't even have that, then she would make sure he never forgot her. She went live. In front of everyone, she sliced her wrists. Screams erupted through the live stream. Friends shouted her name. Even Leo reacted. She heard his disgusted voice mutter, "You're insane," and then he finally ran home. Finally. He left the other woman and came back for her. That was all she had ever wanted. But she'd gone too deep. And she really died. Her soul drifted, watching, waiting for him to realize what he'd done. To hold her and cry. To mourn. To regret. He didn't. He had her cremated without a second thought. And just a month later, he married Selena and gave her everything that had once belonged to Nicole. Her death had taught her one brutal truth: loving a man was never more important than loving herself. She didn't love Leo anymore. Selena's message was still on her phone. This time, she didn't hold back. Leo likes control. Your desperate, tacky attitude? Not his type. No response. Just silence. She walked out of the bathroom, tossing everything: the knife, the bloody towels, the mess she once called her heartbreak, into the trash. 10 years. She had wasted 10 years begging for Leo's affection, trapping herself in a prison she built brick by brick. It wasn't worth it. She texted Leo. Just your signature left on the divorce papers. He arrived fast. His first words? Not dead yet? Another trick? Divorce, huh? His voice dripped with sarcasm. But he wasn't wrong. In her past life, the only reason they got married was for their family's alliance. At the time, Leo's family was nearly bankrupt, his company failing. Marrying him meant she poured her family's wealth into a sinking ship just to save his. That's why, every time she brought up divorce, Leo always gave in. And she thought those compromises meant love, that he cared at least a little. But now she understood. It was never love. It was survival. Every time Leo yielded, it was to protect his future, not her. She took a deep breath and saw the girl standing behind him, Selena. 2 years younger. The orphan her family had adopted. She'd grown up beside Leo like they were meant to be. How stupid Nicole had been to think this was one of those stories where childhood friends lose to true love. She was never the one destined for him. She was just the crazy beauty in Leo's eyes. She handed him the papers. "Sign it." Leo laughed and ripped them apart like her words were meaningless. "Selena's moving in. You'll need to give up the master bedroom. You don't mind, do you?" Mind? How could she dare to object? It wasn't the first time. In her last life, it happened exactly the same way. Selena insisted on the master bedroom. Nicole refused. So Selena took a guest room. That night, she accidentally fell out the window. Apparently, the bed was too close to the glass and she forgot to shut it before sleeping. How tragic. Honestly, who sleeps with the windows wide open? Leo, of course, blamed Nicole. Said she needed to learn a lesson. Locked her in a dark room without food or water. By the time he remembered her, she was barely breathing. Her friends had been outraged. "Nicole, divorce him. That man will kill you." But she was too far gone. Too broken. Her response was pathetic. "Why does he treat me like this and not someone else? Why does he want my life? Because he loves me. He loves me to death." One by one, her friends gave up on her. Stopped calling. Looking back, she felt like a complete fool. But not this time. If Selena loved stealing what was hers so much, fine. She could have it. "All right," she said, calm as ever. A flicker of confusion crossed Selena's eyes. She had clearly arrived prepared to put on a performance, but now all her little tactics were useless. She scanned Nicole from head to toe, then clung to Leo's sleeve. "Brother, about that thing." Her voice trailed off, uncertain, hesitant. Leo adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses in that polished, refined way that used to drive Nicole wild. Back then, she had loved him like a fool-this wolf in a gentleman's skin. Thinking about it now, even a mutt could have gotten her heart if it acted the same way. She'd been completely out of her mind. Finally, Leo spoke. "Selena's in fragile health and needs to prepare for the pregnancy. You'll be taking care of her for the next 2 weeks." Nicole blinked. Oh, right. She'd studied nursing. For him. Back when Leo was drowning in business dinners and cheap liquor, trying to save his crumbling family empire, he'd landed in the hospital with severe gastritis and no money to hire a nurse. So she taught herself the basics and stayed by his side day and night. If he lifted a hand, she brought water. If he shifted in bed, she massaged him. She worked harder than any maid. She thought he'd remember the effort, the devotion. But all he remembered was that he got a free nurse. Still, she smiled. "Fine. But I want something in return," she said calmly. "Give me back the 3 corporate seals I gave you. If you do, I'll agree." Those 3 seals had once saved his company from collapse. Nicole had married him far from home. Her family was based in Shanghai, and they'd opposed the marriage from the start. They eventually agreed, but only on one condition: they gave her the 3 seals. With them, nearly every major business in Beijing owed her family a favor. Her parents had said, "The day you get those seals back, we'll come and get you no matter where you are." She'd handed them to Leo, thinking they'd help his future. In her past life, when she'd finally asked for them back, he'd laughed in her face. "Nicole, who the hell does your family think they are? And those dumb stamps, do you really think they matter? Even without your family, I'll rise again." That was the day she realized, a wolf never thanks the hand that feeds it. A stone-cold heart can't be warmed. At least a stray dog would wag its tail if she tossed it scraps. Leo scoffed, pulled one of the seals from his pocket, and handed it to her like it meant nothing. "The other 2, I'll give them to you 1 each week." The message was clear. Take care of Selena for 2 weeks and she'd have all 3 seals. By then, her parents would have finalized the divorce. There wasn't a shred of love left in her heart for Leo. The only thing she wanted now was to see him fall. When he was no longer the arrogant young heir, when he was drowning in debt, begging for help, would Selena still say she loved him? Days passed. Selena moved in officially. In her previous life, the whole pregnancy plan had driven Nicole to the brink. She developed anxiety so severe she had to be hospitalized. Because the child Selena wanted to have was Leo's. Selena always claimed to be deeply spiritual, raised in Taoist beliefs, grateful to Leo's family for adopting her. She said Leo's bloodline couldn't end, that it was her duty to give him a child. Her excuse? She claimed they'd conceive through IVF. But it was just a Leon excuse to sleep with him. Selena sent photos, videos, made sure Nicole saw everything, one by one, until she coughed up blood and turned into a ghost of herself, pale, sunken-eyed, hair like straw. In her desperation, she once stormed into Leo's office during an international meeting, clung to his legs in front of everyone, begged him to love her. She even said, "I swear, the child I have with you will be smarter and more blessed than Selena's." That public humiliation ruined Leo's image. To shut her up, he had her locked away. And when he couldn't deal with her anymore, he threw her in a psychiatric hospital. Only when she was completely broken, silent, did he let her come home. Even now, just remembering it made her chest tighten with rage and sorrow. But what Selena didn't know was the real reason Nicole and Leo never had a child. Her parents had investigated. Leo's family carried a genetic disorder. Their offspring were born disabled or with severe cerebral palsy. And this time, for the sake of those 3 corporate seals, Nicole played the perfect nurse. At 8 a.m. sharp, she ordered a bird's nest soup and delivered it to Selena. Selena took a sip, then threw it in her face. "What the hell is this garbage? Watch it, or I'll tell Leo." Nicole said nothing. At noon, she brought in a professional masseuse with essential oils to keep Selena's skin flawless. But Selena refused. "Nicole, with those delicate hands of yours, you can handle it, right?" Again, Nicole stayed silent. At 10 p.m., Leo came home. They went into the master bedroom together. Leo paused, putting on that fake, guilty look. "Nicole, this is all for me. You love me, don't you? You understand, right?" Nicole stood outside the door, listening to their moans echo through the room. That was when her phone rang. Her parents. "Nicole, we received 2 of the seals. Are you coming home? 1 more to go. Just 1. And Leo's empire, every deal, every contract would crumble. Because for the past 3 years, every paper had been signed using her family's seals. Without them, he was finished." She stared through the cracked door, watching the bodies tangled on the bed, then smiled. "Dad, Mom, come get me in a week." For 2 weeks, Nicole served Selena like a servant, no sleep, barely eating. She lost so much weight that even Leo began to look at her differently. Sometimes he even tried to sound human. "Nicole, if you'd always been this obedient, life would have been easier." She pressed her lips together, forced a smile, said nothing. No more outbursts. She only wondered when his company collapsed, would he be the one screaming this time? At last, Leo handed her the final seal. Afraid he might back out, she immediately laid the divorce papers on the table, making sure to remind him, "Don't forget to sign it when you get back tonight." Leo's eyes narrowed in mockery. "What's this? Found out Selena's pregnant, and now you want to do another live stream suicide stunt." His voice turned cold, razor sharp. "Nicole, if you die, I'll make sure to collect your corpse myself." She lowered her head and didn't reply. Because she knew he meant it. That was exactly why she would never be as stupid as she had been in her past life. She considered packing, but as she glanced around the house, she realized there wasn't a single thing worth taking with her. The moment Leo walked out the door, she climbed into a waiting car, turned off her phone, pulled out the SIM card, and vanished. "Leo," she thought, "I'll wait for your downfall from Shanghai." She blocked him on every platform. But she forgot one thing, the old WeChat group, where she once announced she'd kill herself. On the first day of her disappearance, the first person to mention her in the group was Victor. He'd always been the cruelest, calling her desperate, pathetic, clingy. His family had business ties with Leo, so he constantly defended him, no matter what vile thing he did. Now that she thought about it, the day she tried to end her life, Victor was the loudest voice mocking her. "Nicole, why don't you just die already? Never seen a ghost in love before. And really, what makes you think you can compete with Selena?" But now Victor was shouting even louder. "Nicole, first you try to off yourself, now you pull a disappearing act. If you crawl back and beg Leo for forgiveness, maybe I'll plead on your behalf. With luck, when he buys jewelry for Selena, he might throw in the promo gifts for you too." Beg on her behalf? Since when did mutts speak for their masters? She opened the video Victor had posted. It was from the afternoon she left. He was personally escorting Selena around the mall, shopping for the most expensive jewelry they could find. The way they flirted, laughed, posed for the camera'd think they were the real couple. How blind had she been in her past life? The video was crystal clear. Leo had shut down the entire mall just for Selena. Every piece she picked was flashy, excessive, dripping in luxury. Victor was right. Every cheap piece of jewelry Leo had given Nicole before were leftovers. Promotional freebies. And the worst part? She had begged him for them. But something didn't add up. Leo still had money for jewelry? She contacted a friend in Beijing and asked for the full footage. In the next part of the video, just as Selena finished picking out rings, Leo's phone lit up with a text. Dear Mr. Leo, your account has been debited. Remaining balance, 0 yuan. At first, he thought it was a scam and ignored it. Then he handed his black card to the cashier. Charge it to my account. The woman took the card, returned less than a minute later, and said, I'm sorry, sir, but this card's been declined. Could you try another? Just one sentence. Leo frowned. He tried another card, then another, and another. None worked. Panic flickered in his eyes as he remembered that text message. His expression turned grim. He quickly called his finance department. Gabriella, where the hell is all the money in my account? The accountant answered coolly, Sir, since we breached the contract terms, all company funds were used to pay off the penalties. Contract breach? All the money gone? Selena screamed. Leo, it's Nicole. It has to be her. Leo clenched his fists, his hands trembling as he frantically tried to call her. But her number no longer existed. Frustrated, he left a voicemail. Nicole, what the hell are you doing? Where's the company's money? Nicole, answer me. When he couldn't reach her, real panic set in. Because at that exact moment, his phone started lighting up nonstop. 1/3 urgent requests for corporate seals. 1/3 business partners demanding immediate payment. And the last third notifications of breach of contract penalties, each worth millions. The video showed it all. Leo's fingers shook, just like hers had trembled the day she saw him with Selena. See? A person can survive without love. But without money? Never. The video ended. She clicked her tongue and smiled. Leo's loyal brothers clearly hadn't realized yet that the empire was already burning. She saved the voicemail, ready to play it when the time was right. She wanted everyone to see who was groveling now. She took a deep breath and refocused. She had a meeting with new partners, the very companies that once swore loyalty to Leo. Now, they were preparing to pull out of Beijing and move their investments to Shanghai with her. Just then, her old WeChat group exploded with a message. It was from Selena. Her tone was smug, dripping with fake concern like a woman tossing scraps to a starving stray. Nicole, Leo said if you come crawling back now and kneel before him, he'll consider forgiving you. A woman shouldn't be so difficult. Men don't have infinite patience, especially a man like Leo, someone at the top of the pyramid. Nicole nearly gagged. She never expected Selena to say anything intelligent, but those words reminded her of something old-fashioned, feudal nonsense. And that's exactly what Selena was. From the day Nicole married Leo, Selena never saw her as his wife. Never even called her sister-in-law. In Selena's mind, she was the ideal product of patriarchal upbringing, submissive, obedient, always offering blind emotional support. For Leo, she was the perfect pet. No matter what he did, she would stare at him like he was a god. If Leo farted, Selena would probably say it smelled like roses. So, of course, she never understood why Leo married someone like Nicole. To her, Nicole was nothing. And she didn't disappoint. Selena sent her another video, just 2 days after Nicole left. It showed Leo's private office, packed with executives from companies that once partnered with him. Selena, ever the smug little actress, messaged her privately. Nicole, now that you're gone, don't even dream of coming back. Leo's about to become a global business icon. Oh, Selena, what a beautiful fantasy you're living. Because those same executives in the video? At that very moment, they were sitting right across from Nicole holding brand new contracts with her. She let out a small laugh and calmly asked about the meeting from the video. The executives rushed to clarify. Miss, please don't misunderstand. That day we only went to see Leo to terminate our contracts with him. Just then, another video arrived on her phone. These executives had smart assistants, each of them had secretly recorded the entire meeting. She took a slow sip of coffee, her eyes locked onto the frozen frame. Leo, with blood on his lips. A wave of satisfaction washed over her. Without hesitation, she hit play. Inside the office, Leo's face was dark with panic. Surrounded by furious business partners demanding answers, he had no choice but to smile and beg. He looked just like she once did when she was sick but still cooked for him, hoping for the smallest scrap of kindness. He'd never even looked at her. And now, there was that same desperation in his voice, the way she used to plead. Now he was pleading. "We can still work together, right? Does it really matter if we use my company's seal instead of Nicole's?" The replies came instantly. "Of course it matters. We only recognize Nicole's family." "Who the hell do you think you are, Leo? Without Nicole's family, do you seriously think you would have lasted this long in Beijing? It's all in the contract. Without their seal, you owe penalties. If we don't see payment in 3 days, prepare for bankruptcy." Each statement landed like a punch to Leo's gut. He stood frozen, like the wind had been knocked out of him. Then, realization struck. He remembered the corporate seals. The ones Nicole had taken back. And for the first time, he said her name so loud it almost sounded like pain. "Nicole." Before he could react, the office doors burst open. Someone stormed in, and without a word punched him straight in the face. Turns out, the day Nicole vanished, this man came to collect a debt. Leo had refused to pay. And now he was paying in blood. The video kept playing, but Nicole had seen enough. She didn't want to watch Leo crawling like a beaten dog. Nosh wanted to see him wag his tail in front of her. Just as she was about to respond, her phone rang. It was her parents. "Nicole, are you okay? We just heard that Leo is in Shanghai." She hadn't expected Leo to show up in Shanghai so soon. Meanwhile, her old WeChat group exploded daily. Everyone kept tagging her, demanding apologies, insisting she come back to Leo. It was like they'd eaten poisoned mushrooms, completely delusional. But thanks to her parents' warnings and her own refusal to see Leo so soon, she buried herself in work. Day and night, she studied financial management, learning to run the family business. She was so busy she didn't even know if it was day or night anymore. And then Leo appeared. He stood at the entrance of her home. It was nighttime, and the glow of the streetlights cast deep shadows across his face. Backlit, he almost looked like one of those tortured, romantic anime protagonists. No wonder she'd been obsessed with him in her past life. That face, it really was addictive. But when he saw her, his expression darkened further. Before she could say anything, he launched into questions. Just like always. No matter what she did, all she ever got from him was blame. "Nicole, where the hell have you been? Did you know I waited outside your house for 3 days? How much longer are you going to keep up this disappearing act?" 3 days? In the past, he'd gone on vacation with Selena without a word. She waited an entire month for him to come home. 3 days? That didn't even begin to touch the damage he'd done to her. She took a deep breath. For the first time, she truly looked at the man she had once loved with her whole heart. And for the first time, she realized all those feelings, pain, obsession, desperation, they were gone. For the first time, she could stand her ground. For the first time, she could speak without swallowing her pride. For the first time, she could say exactly what she wanted. "Leo, I'm not coming back." He grabbed her wrist, frowning like he was about to justify himself. In the past, every time she saw that frown, she'd instinctively want to soothe it. She wanted to fix everything for him. But now he just looked like a pathetic ex who couldn't move on. "Let go." Leo tightened his grip. "Is this about Selena? I can make her leave." Make Selena leave? That was the one thing she had longed to hear in her past life. And now that she no longer wanted him, now he said it. She laughed. "And where exactly would you send her with your child in her belly?" She tilted her head, smirking. "What's the plan, Leo? You two gonna star in your own little drama? The dominant CEO chasing his pregnant mistress? Sorry, but I'm not interested in watching that telenovela." For a second, Leo actually looked stunned. Because in the past, she would have melted the moment he said something sweet. But now something didn't compute in his brain. Nicole, didn't I already explain? I didn't want you to have kids because I couldn't bear to see you suffer. I love you. Hilarious. In the past, those words would have destroyed her. Now they made her sick. No matter what came out of his mouth, it all sounded disgusting. Leo's patience began to fray. Nicole, I'm staying in Shanghai for a week. I'm giving you 7 days to calm down. After that, you'll come back to me. She gave him a cold, mocking smile. So this was what she must have looked like in the past, when she couldn't take no for an answer. Leo couldn't understand, could he? She didn't love him anymore. Not in a week. Not in a month. Not in a lifetime. But he didn't get it. He was so persistent that he even rented an apartment near her home, just to block her path every day. The next morning, she left the house and there he was, standing by his car, holding a coffee from her favorite cafe. In his other hand a cloud bun. Her favorite. Nicole, he said softly. Try it. Tell me if it still tastes the same. She looked at the coffee and the pastry. For a brief moment, she honestly wondered had he drugged them? After all, that was how it had started. In her past life, it was a simple meal food he handed her that made her fall helplessly in love with Leo. It had to be some kind of spell. She took the coffee and cloud bun from his hands and tossed them straight into the trash. I don't eat garbage, she said. It was the exact same phrase Leo had once used when mocking her cooking. Now she simply returned the favor. His face darkened with humiliation. She climbed into her car and let the exhaust fumes blow into his face, leaving him standing there with an expression even blacker than before. By midday, Leo had somehow tracked down her new address. This time, he didn't bring food. He sent a jewelry box full of pieces from her favorite brand. The kind of brand that didn't sell to the public. You had to be a VIP just to be allowed to buy. In the past, she used to worry when Leo worked too hard trying to make money. But he never hesitated to spend it all on Selena. And now he was giving jewelry to her? What did he want to make her nauseous? She didn't hesitate. She called him instantly. The moment he picked up, she spat. Your man's out here flirting and sending me jewelry. Do you even care or not? Leo hung up immediately. He probably never imagined she'd have the guts to call Selena directly. When he called back, his voice was tight and cold. Nicole, stop dragging other people into this. We're still married. All I want now is to be with you. Was that Mandarin? Because somehow, when Leo said it, she couldn't understand a single word. He wanted to be with her? He didn't want the divorce? She pulled out the divorce documents her lawyer had prepared days ago. Fine. If you refuse to sign, I'll sue. And when the court sees the proof your affair, your illegitimate child, believe me, it'll cost you a lot more. Leo's mask finally cracked. For days he'd been pretending to be a loyal lapdog. But now his true face reemerged. His eyes darkened with fury as he stared at her. Nicole, do you really have to be this cruel? Isn't this what you always wanted me, love? Fine. I'll give it to you. All of it. What more do you want? Sometimes, when you're so exhausted, all you can do is laugh. Leo's love, what exactly was that worth? She looked at him coldly, exposing the absurdity of his little act. Do you love me? Or do you love the corporate seals my family owns? Your company's collapsing, isn't it? Your golden days, they're over, right? Leo's pupils shrank. In a sudden burst of rage, he lunged at her like a wild animal ready to tear her apart. Nicole, it was you. You did this on purpose. Why the hell are you doing this? Look at me, I am your man. I'm Leo, the man you loved the most. Are you seriously just going to stand there and watch me die? Is that what'll make you happy? His hand shot toward her throat. But before he could touch her, a larger hand appeared between them, stopping him cold. A deep, steady voice rang out from behind her. So this is the so-called business genius from Beijing? Looks like Leo was just a kept man all along. That voice, it was familiar. Almost unmistakable. The man her parents had once arranged for her to marry. Paul. What was he doing here? He stood a full head taller than Leo, and as he stepped in front of her, he completely blocked her view. All she could see now was Leo on the ground, eyes locked on her, storm clouds of emotions swirling inside disbelief, frustration, resentment. Nicole, are you divorcing me because of this guy? I won't let you get away with this. But with Paul there, Leo knew he had nothing left to fight with. He stormed off like a beaten dog. Paul, on the other hand, had only seen him once before. She never expected him to even remember her. But his tone was light, posture relaxed, carrying a confident charm with a hint of warmth. "I came to finalize a business deal. Just passing through," he said, lips curving in a subtle smirk. "Didn't expect my new partner to be you." Then, almost playfully, "No need to thank me, Miss Nicole. Just make sure a project runs smoothly." 2 sentences. That was all it took to wash away her worry. She had feared her parents might try to push them together again. But in the end it was just business. The project went perfectly. Almost too perfectly. Even after long hours of working together, Paul always made sure she ate well and stayed comfortable. Everything from the temperature of the room to the food was exactly the way she liked it. And when they negotiated contracts, strategized, or made plans, Paul never held back his praise. "Nicole, the business world needs people like you. Who says women can't succeed? I think you're more than capable." His unwavering confidence in her made her feel light, exhilarated, like she could float. She had spent years begging for those words. So much time waiting for Leo's approval, she had forgotten what she was even chasing. Now, she finally understood. Recognition is not begged for. It's earned. That night, as they wrapped up another day of work, Paul dropped one last calm and curious, teasing. "Nicole, a woman like you, how did you end up married?" Then, with a mischievous smile, "Need help fixing that mistake?" She froze. So Paul already knew she was in the middle of a divorce. But this wasn't over yet. Not completely. She and Leo still had ties to cut. Just when she thought things were finally quieting down, Selena appeared in Shanghai. And not just quietly. She showed up at Nicole's office holding a giant sign that read, "Nicole, the shameless heiress homewrecker." She had to admit that did surprise her. Selena had never been impulsive. She was calculated, cold, a master manipulator. So, why this? Had she lost her mind? She didn't even try to play the victim subtly, she went straight for chaos. The sign was draped across the front entrance of Nicole's company. And Leo? He was there too. Selena's belly was already showing, even though she was just 3 months along. Rumor had it she was carrying twins that would explain why she looked more heavily pregnant than expected. But the most shocking part? That polished, controlled image Selena always wore was gone. Now she looked like a bitter, shrieking wife. Worse than Nicole had ever looked in her past life. "Come on, everyone, look," she yelled. "This shameless woman Nicole seduced my husband. What am I supposed to do? What's going to happen to my children?" Shanghai. Very few people here even knew Nicole had been married. Hardly anyone in Shanghai knew about Leo and Selena. So, to passersby, the whole scene looked genuine. And when people don't know the truth, they make up their own. Some bystanders recorded the chaos and posted it online. Within minutes, social media exploded with hate. "Nicole the homewrecker. Is this her idea of fun? God, another spoiled rich girl obsessed with destroying marriages. Why doesn't she just become an escort? Poor wife. She's pregnant, and this shameless woman is still seducing her husband." Funny how these scandals always go the same way: the man vanishes, and the woman gets dragged through the mud. But Nicole didn't hold back. She exposed everything. Every sickening detail about how Leo and Selena had humiliated her for years. Once the truth hit the internet, their twisted story step-siblings turned lover shot to #1 in trending searches. Leo was drowning in the mess he created. Still, she shoved the divorce papers in his face one last time. But this man, this broken shell sitting across from her, was no longer sane. In her past life, when she died, Leo remained composed. But now? She was alive and he had completely lost his mind. She sat in the police station's visiting area. Through the glass, she could see his hands still stained with blood. His eyes were vacant, unfocused, nearly lifeless. He mumbled nonsense, fragments of phrases that slowly pieced together a story. 3 days ago. Leo never got her forgiveness. His company never received the funding it needed. And Selena? After learning Leo had gone to Shanghai to beg Nicole to come back, they fought. It began when Leo found an old diary Nicole had left behind in their marital home. Page after page was filled with agony. a daily log of her suffering. Every trap Selena had set to break her. When Leo finished reading, his eyes were bloodshot. What he did next slapped Selena. "You bitch. If it weren't for you, Nicole never would have left me. You should die. If you die, Nicole will forgive me." Selena, 3 months pregnant, too weak to fight back. She collapsed to the floor, gasping. Leo's hands closed around her throat. Her face turned purple, her breath shallow. She barely managed to whisper, "Leo, the baby, our child." For a moment he paused. His grip loosened slightly. His lips trembled as he murmured, "Yes, the baby, the baby. If I get rid of the baby, Nicole will forgive me." Selena's eyes went wide. She pleaded, "No, Leo, please don't. It's our baby. Your blood." But Leo was no longer rational. No money. No power. No hospital would even admit him. So, in his madness, hit her. Over and over. Fist after fist to her stomach. She only survived because a bystander intervened and called emergency services. Selena was rushed to the hospital. She lived. The baby lived. But Leo was arrested. And nowhere he was. Covered in blood. Unhinged. Sitting on the other side of the glass. After recounting everything, Leo collapsed to his knees. He clutched her dress, his hands trembling with desperation. "Nicole, is it you? It's really you, right? I knew it. I knew you still love me. You can't leave me. You love me, swear." "Selena lied to me. You're the only one I've ever loved." She pried his hands off her dress. But before letting go completely, she grabbed his fingers tightly. And in the same cold voice he had once used on her, she said, "If you really love me, sign the divorce." Leo refused. But his opinion didn't matter anymore. She forced his hand and pressed his fingerprints onto the document. And finally she was free. On her way out of the station, she asked what would happen to Leo. The answer was simple: if Selena didn't press charges, he'd be released. But she no longer cared. 2 days later, Paul organized a celebration banquet in her honor. Her first real victory since the divorce. She dressed to perfection for the occasion. And as she walked through the dazzling crowd, it finally clicked: always had the power to shine brighter than everyone. Leo's words never defined who she was. During the banquet, Paul used the opportunity to confess his feelings. She turned him down gently. But before she could fully enjoy the night, it was ruined. Leo showed up. No one knew how he got in. But there he was with a knife. Not pointed at her, but at himself. The madness in his eyes was chilling as he grabbed her wrist. His voice trembled, thick with obsession. "Nicole, I don't believe you. You still love me. You have to. If you don't love me, I'll kill myself." In that moment she saw it clearly. Leo, desperate and suicidal, was exactly who she had become in her past life. For a second, she couldn't speak. All she felt was pity. A deep, bitter pity. Paul pulled her away just in time. And then Leo stabbed himself. "Nicole, if I die, will you love me forever? Will I be your eternal light?" Blood sprayed. His life vanished in seconds. He collapsed. Dead. She stared at him. And for the first time, she repeated the words he had once said when she died. What bad luck. Still, she arranged for his body to be handled properly. Just like he once had her cremated. 7 months later, she heard news about Selena. She'd given birth to twins, both born with cerebral palsy. She nearly bled to death during labor. And as a result, she'd never be able to have children again. With no skills and no Leo to support her, Selena sold her children for money. As for Victor, the man who humiliated Nicole endlessly, ended up a slave in an illegal brick factory. Hearing all of this brought her no joy, only indifference. This time she had broken free from the cycle. And that was enough. She turned to Paul. "Mr. Paul, ready for our next project?" His eyes lit up, and with a slow, confident smile, he said, "More than ready."